Edie was 6 months old. She was diagnosed with stage 4 neuroblastoma. She had tumors all around her abdomen, as well as tumors up her spine. We actually did not leave the hospital for 4.5 months. 12 rounds of chemotherapy, multiple surgeries, all happened before she was 2.5. There were times that I felt like, why is this happening to us? Why does our child have to go through this? That is when they referred us to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia and Dr. Mose.
Dr. Mose is amazing. She's so nice, and she basically feels like family.
It's often said that children need to be protected from research, whereas the reality is they need to be protected through research. And one of Pfizer's commitments is to develop breakthroughs that change patients' lives.
Like Edie said, Dr. Mose is part of our family. I can't imagine having to go through any of this without her.
My name is Yael Mose. I'm a professor of pediatrics at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, and my faculty appointment is at the Perelman School of Medicine at the University of Pennsylvania. I always knew I wanted to take care of children. That was the easy part. And then my best friend developed leukemia, and that really blew me away. I didn't even realize that one could be 21 and actually have cancer. That's when I decided I wanted to be not only a pediatrician, but a pediatric oncologist. Working in the lab is an opportunity to take a question and formulate experiments. And the way that I started asking questions, since I did not have a science background, was what are the questions that come from the patients? So we often say bench to bedside. For me, it's always been bedside to bench. And that's why participating in clinical trials is important on so many levels. It advances medical knowledge, and for me, it brings science from the bench to the bedside.
We need to prioritize many aspects of development when we do clinical research in children. Particularly, we want to make sure, of course, that it's ethically the right thing to do, and then we want to do it with high quality.
I had the privilege of meeting Edie. She came with her mom and dad. She'd already had a lot of therapy. And when I first met her, she was an ill-appearing baby.
At that point, Dr. Mose had a recommendation that we give Edie a blood test to see if this, by any chance, could possibly be the hereditary neuroblastoma.
When we took her history, what we found to be really notable was that she was born with a tumor on each adrenal gland. And that suggests that she has a genetic predisposition to developing neuroblastoma.
She called about 4 days later and said, it is the hereditary neuroblastoma. And she said, you need to get back up to Philadelphia like now, because we are closing a clinical trial for Edie's exact type of neuroblastoma.
We identified that mutations in this oncogene were actually responsible for the inherited form of neuroblastoma. And when there's a mutation in it, there's a genetic error in the code of this gene that it abnormally turns on the gene. And that turned out to be very much in our favor, because when that happens, then you can develop a drug to turn it off. So I just want to pause there because that was such a huge moment. And the trial of the drug opened just over 1 year after the publication of the discovery. That is unprecedented. And then afterwards, you get, after a very open, transparent conversation, we made the recommendation to enroll Edie on a phase 1 clinical trial for high-risk neuroblastoma.
Pediatric research is not easy. It's very difficult. So the Pediatric Center of Excellence is a group of pediatric experts who come together to bring a child focus to the work we're doing as a company. And obviously children are one of the most vulnerable populations that we have in healthcare.
So we're very invested in pediatric research and bringing our new medicines and vaccines to kids so that they can benefit and live as normal, healthy lives as possible.
What I remember the most about it is just how everything was so new. They brought the first dose of the study medicine in and didn't even have a name yet.
Whenever I would take it, they would let me pick out something to take with it. So I would have it, and then I would have a spoonful of whipped cream or a few M&Ms or ice cream or something like that, because I did not like the taste of it.
As we put our clinical trial programs together, and this is what's really changed over the years, we try to think of them holistically from a child focus and a family focus. So as a company, we have to consider how that medicine would be given to a child. Do we need to make a liquid? Do we need to make a suspension? Do we need to make a smaller tablet, a smaller capsule? And when it comes to pediatric trials, we feel it's important to bring pediatric subject matter experts to the table to help from the beginning to pull all that together.
Edie took the drug for a month, and as one does on an early phase clinical trial, we repeat the scans early on.
We had an appointment in the clinic with Dr. Mose, and she said that she kept ordering more pictures because she couldn't believe it.
Clinical research requires a state of genuine uncertainty on the part of the investigator about what the outcome might be. Not all of our efforts in clinical trials have the responses that Edie had. But over time, we started to realize that not only did she have a remarkable initial response, but that the response was durable. And she's doing exceptionally well.
I really didn't know the possibility of participating in a clinical trial. And if I was presented with a situation tomorrow where I had to make the same decision, I would do it all over again.
It's definitely changed my life, because if I didn't have the medicine, I probably wouldn't be here where I am now. And even if I was, I probably wouldn't be as well as I am.
I can't imagine having to go through any of this without Dr. Mose. She's super helpful, she's understanding, she's encouraging, so I'm forever indebted to her for it.
Clinical trials are the most scientifically rigorous way to impact the care of patients with cancer. And we need to partner with our industry colleagues and with families in order to have the impact that we want to have.